So on this Microsoft Excel sheet, I'm going to demonstrate the application of secant method for the same problem we attempted last time with the Newton's-Raphson's method. So it begins with the initial approximation. I set here check for number of iterations. We have said we will have one x old, one x intermediate value, and then we will compute the f of x old. We will compute f of x intermediate, and then we will compute x new value, and then the error value. Right? These are the requirements for secant methods, or essential elements which are required to develop the algorithm for secant method. Iterations would begin from 0 and 1. And just to write these numbers in sequence, I can drag the selection and the number would be repeated. Right. So let's start with the initial approximation 0 and say 2, right, for this problem. Now f of x old, so I compute here cos of x old value from its respective cell. Oh, okay, it requires minus x. Okay. Then the same function calculation for x intermediate value. So the value has been picked from its respective cell. And now the x new calculation. The x new calculation requires the implementation of secant formula. So I say it is equal to x intermediate value minus f of x intermediate, right? And divided by this value, okay, divided by f of x intermediate minus f of x old times, in the numerator I require x intermediate value minus x old, right? So I hope I have written the expression correctly. So it is this value. Now let's compute the error. It is absolute of x new value minus the x intermediate value, right? The next step, we have to update the values. So x old will be updated from x intermediate. That's it. And x intermediate will take the value of x new, and that's it. The rest will be the repetition of calculation. So I first repeat this calculation for the second iteration, and then can repeat all the calculations. I think I have made a slight mistake, but let's check it. Okay, the errors are increasing. It means let me again check the expression. We again check the expression. Okay. So x intermediate value minus f of x intermediate or x old, okay, times x intermediate value minus x old divided by f of x intermediate minus f of x old. So there is a slight difference. So we have to again check the calculations. Okay, so from here, okay, so it seems the error has been reduced. And then yes, the answer has converged 0.7391. So if you keep checking on your output generated from your programs, you can really identify where the errors are. So this is the implementation of the Secant algorithm. So for a review, we started with the 2 initial approximation instead of just 1, as it was in Newton-Raphson's method. We compute the function values at the 2 initial approximations, and then the secant secant formula is implemented in the calculation of x new. And after the iteration, the x old takes the value of x intermediate, and x intermediate takes on the values of x new. And here you have to stop manually you have to stop the iterations manually because here is no provision of writing in the form of a for loop here. So if you check the values to decimal places, so you will really appreciate the accuracy. There is double precision arithmetic in the Microsoft Excel sheet.